Freedom Friday. I'm so happy and grateful that I can be here on this Freedom Friday working with you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. When you're here, tell me hi. I want to know what your number is today. What number are you? Thank you. I just saw a viewer that's here, so that means that I can see the comments today, so that is always something to be grateful for. What number are you today? 1 being blah, 10 being, oh my God, I am so much clearer on where I'm going, and I am going to make sure that I get where I want, because I am not going to stop until I win. Who is there? Hey, Jackie. Today's card out of mine is I'm building a better me. And you are. That's what you're here to do, hey? Build a better version of yourself that you can align with and then step into. And sometimes it feels so far removed from who you are that the step feels huge. Heidi, 10, awesome. I'm so glad to see it. Hi, Shay. Hey, Claude. Guess what? Claude and I discovered today that we're both going to be in Adelaide at the same time next week. So we're so excited that we can catch up. So glad you're here, Claude. Thank you so much. Okay, if you're here, and I know you're here, so number between 1 and 10. 1 being blah, 10 being, oh man, I just know now what I need to do. I've got a clearer picture. Even if it's just the first step, you know the first step. 8.5. Good stuff, Anne. Hi, Katie. When you get here, come on and say hi. Hi, Leah. Well done, Katie. Well done. Can't you see, like, when you subscribe to one of these trainings or you're in this flow, like, your days get better and better, the number gets better and better, and you get some momentum going. Momentum is so cool. Like, if you think about it, hi, Jamie. If you think about it, you think about a truck starting, and just as it gets started, now this is what paradigm controls. I want you to really understand this. So a truck just gets started. So say it's taking off from a set of traffic lights, and it just gets started and it's at the next set of traffic lights and it has to stop. That's what our paradigm gets us to do. I want a show of hands, so I want you to either put some sort of emoji, make it like if you can find the hand ones, or say me, if this makes sense to you, that you have decided I am going to start something, whether it be a health thing, whether it be I'm not going to drink for so long, I'm going to do some study, I'm going to start a diet, not a diet, yeah, well, a diet, you can say that, or you're going to start a health kick thing, and I'm going to exercise this many days, and you start off gung-ho, and the first few days you are up and you're going, and then after a little while the pressing snooze sort of creeps back in, or the eating thing, or you're just like, oh, actually I'm going to start that next week. I've got a party this weekend, so I'm going to drink this week, so I'm going to start that next week. How many of you have done that? There's a few of you already that have got show of hands. Before I could even finish telling the story, you all know that you've all started something and decided something. But I want you to understand this. You were probably just interested. You were interested to see if you could get the result. You didn't quite believe that you could. You were interested. And your paradigm is looking for that tiniest little crack in the door to go, oh, let me find my way back in there. Let me find my way back in there so that I can just pull that person up and keep them here, because we know exactly what to do here. I don't have to change anything here. And as soon as it finds its way in, before too long, you will find your way back to where you were 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Normally things don't last for more than 2 weeks when people start this. This is why, have you ever noticed that all the diet industries, I've done a few diets before in my life, and the ones that know that you're going to keep coming back each year, they're starting as soon as Christmas is finished. As soon as Christmas is finished, they're on the ball, like, okay, you guys, let's get next year, let's get you in shape, let's get this done. And guess what? You start, and then Australia Day comes along. Hey, we're in Australia. Like, I don't know how many times Australia Day has tripped me up when I have started something new. Because all they do is change your behavior. They don't go and change the belief system that you hold about yourself in the process. Because there's big bucks. There's big bucks in keeping you stuck. Now, I want to help you get unstuck. So there will be some beliefs that you hold about yourself that is going to hold you back from creating the life that you want. There is going to be some disbelief. Like you, especially if you have your C-type goal. How many believe that they've got their C-type goal? It scares and excites them at the same time. They know that they can do it because they've seen other people around them do it, or somebody on the TV, or somebody else has what they want. But you haven't got it yet, but it scares you and excites you at the same time. Who has got their C-type goal sorted? Now, I know a lot of my team have, and a lot of the people that I'm working with have. So I know you guys have, but you guys that have just been here for this last 5 days, 4 days, have you got it? Does it scare you a bit? Does your paradigm start to come in and start to throw up some little negative self-talk there? It's just like, hey, you got, like, Polly, really? Like, you've never done that before. Like, my goal at the moment, my goal is a quadruple of my previous goal. So it's pretty big for me, like in my scheme of things. And my negative self-talk is like, how the hell do you think you're going to do that? There is not enough time in the day, Polly. And I just have to talk back to my paradigm, like just say, well, you can just sit the hell down, because guess what? My paradigm controls how productive I am, and my paradigm controls how effective I am and how I use my time. So all I have to do is change how I use my time and what I manage throughout the day and manage my priorities, and I will have the time. So you can sit the hell down, and you can talk to your paradigm. You can tell that thing to sit the hell down. And after a while, it's not even going to argue with you. This is the part that I love. When we get to that stage and it's just run out of arguments, because you are so committed, you know exactly where you're going and nothing can stop you. Now, there could be some disbelief in you, and there could be some dramas going on in your life right now that you're using as excuses. I just don't have enough time. I just don't know where I'm going to fit it in. Like, I'm talking about coming and studying with us in I Am Limitless. Like, I know that there's a few of you that have reached out and asked some of my team, like, how much time is this going to take? And we're like, oh, it's going to take about an hour a day to come and, like, to really change the connection between your conscious and subconscious mind and turn your brain into a transmitter that transmits the frequency of your goals, so then you can start receiving. You're like, I haven't got an hour. And we're like, well, yeah, you do. You do have an hour. And they're like, but where am I going to find that? I've already got da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, guess what, everybody? I run 2 businesses. I also run a house. I also have a place in Adelaide. I do speaking around the world. Or yeah, I do it around the world. I also have 2 World Fit groups going at the moment. And I am a mum. And I do have kids. And I have lots of responsibilities. And I travel a lot. I'm not home that much. I find the time. If I can find the time, you can. And you know what? The best thing to do is to stack habits. So there's these things, they're called AirPods. You put them in your ears and you listen and you get your mind set on where you're going first thing in the morning. So while you're brushing your teeth, this is how I do it. I get out of bed, go do yoga, do a meditation, get up. My AirPods are still in because I've just done a meditation. Change it over to my listening, my mindset work each day. And I listen to that as I brush my teeth, do my hair, do my makeup, put my clothes on. And I'm there, I'm listening, because all this other stuff is already a habit. I don't need to think. Have a think about it. When you're getting ready for your day, where are your thoughts going? They're not going, okay, you need to put this leg in first, and you need to brush this tooth and that tooth and this tooth, and then you need to worry about how you're putting your earrings in, because I take all my jewelry off, and you've got to get the brush and you've got to do it a certain way. You're not there. You've already got habits for that. So you can be listening. That's how I do it anyway. And then in the evening time, I read the book as the same time that I listen, because I'm actually doing Lead the Field at the moment. So it's a different set of things. So that's how you do it. So anybody that comes to me and says, I just don't have the time, I say, bullshit, your paradigm is telling you don't have the time. Because if there was something else, like if your health was a priority, and I want you to think about this. Imagine if you had to go and see a specialist, and you had to be away from home for a month to do some treatments, would you find that time? You would, because you are important. But you're only important when the shit hits the fan. We're only important when things are not going right, when things are not so bad so it doesn't hurt that much. Then we decide that everything else is more important. Circumstances actually make our decisions instead of us controlling the circumstances and making our own decisions. Here's my little book, my favorite little book. I want to read you something here. Now, this is The Truth That Sets You Free, this chapter is called. And I'm only going to read you the first paragraph, because the first paragraph is just, it packs a punch. And I giggle each time that I read it, because it is just, like, I've had people talk to me before, and every time I read it, like, they come to my mind, I'm just like, and I've been in a group of 4 ladies and we've read this, and I giggle each time. The drama of life is a psychological one, in which all the conditions, circumstances, and events of your life are brought to pass by your assumptions. So every drama in your life, every circumstance, every hurdle, every problem has been brought about because you assume it's going to happen that way. And all you have to do, so that's a paradigm, right? All you have to do is change what you assume, change what you believe. A paradigm is your group of beliefs. Now, I want to, there's some few things that I really want to go over today. In your worksheet, there is a technique in there to help you clear energy, and it's called Ho'oponopono. I became a practitioner in Ho'oponopono probably 4 years ago now, and I use this throughout my life. There has been some really fun things that it's worked at, and there's been some not so good things, but I've always got a positive outcome from it, because like there's, in a negative moment, you use this to clear the energy. Now, there was a doctor so this is an ancient Hawaiian technique, that it's a forgiveness technique, and they used to do it so that you all sat around, and the person that was had done something wrong, or like it was like going to the jury sort of thing, would stand in the middle of the circle, and everybody would be saying in their mind or saying out loud, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you," and clearing the energy from this person. Now, there was a doctor, and his name was Dr. Hugh Lin. He has this other name that I can't pronounce that well, so we call him Dr. Hugh Lin. He was a doctor in a psychiatric hospital for the criminally insane. And he used this technique. He would get people's files out, and he would clear all the negative from them just by reading about them in their file. He never saw a patient. He just cleared the negative out of them, because if it was in the person, it was also in him, because he cannot attract what is in your life without it being a part of you in the first place. There's got to be an assumption in there that you can attract it to you, that you've got to believe something is real for it to come into you. So he believed that if he cleared what was in him, he would clear it out of that person, and then also clear it out of the whole universe, right? All but 2 of those people were I don't know, how do you say that word? They were God, where's it gone? Anyway, they weren't insane anymore. They weren't in trouble. They were let go free. They were allowed to release. And the other thing that happened was, all the people that were having sick days, there was a lot of people having sick days, because you can think that they're in a hospital for the criminally insane. There is a lot of people didn't want to work there. So there was a lot of sick days. There was a lot of changeover of hands, of staff and that. He changed all of that. And it was just by these 4 phrases. But you've got to have a bit of background. You don't actually have to have a bit of background. You can just say the 4 phrases. It is enough, because the words in it are enough. But I want to give you some background. So when we have, oh good Jackie, we have an inner being and we have an outer being, right? And in my self-image lessons that I teach, whatever the inner being feels will be expressed on the outer. But sometimes we can put on a fake external thing in self-image talk, right? But there is an inner being that we want to be aligned with. I call it spirit. Like, spirit is always coming to and through me. And when I align with the spirit of me, then only good can happen. And I have the power in my hands to do whatever I want. So, and I don't know if you guys have ever had energy healing like that. You can even have distance energy healing because we're all energy, we're all connected, and you can tap into each other because that's just the way it goes. Anyway, I may have gone a bit too far there. Anyway, so when the 4 phrases, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. When you say I'm sorry, you're not saying I'm sorry to anybody, any situation, anything like that. You are apologizing to yourself. Because whenever you feel a negative feeling, think a negative belief, believe that there's bad in the world, believe that the whole world's going to the dogs, or whatever it is that you've got that's a negative belief, you are so far away from the truth of you. So when you're saying I'm sorry, you're saying I'm sorry that I got so far away from us. I'm so sorry that I let myself be disconnected. That's what you're saying sorry to. And then you're saying, please forgive me. You're saying that to your inner being, like, please forgive me for getting so far away from myself, for believing that there was bad in the world. Because, you know, our belief system creates our reality. So if we stop believing that there's bad and that there's only good, all we'll see is good. And all that there will be is good. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me for being so far away. I love you. Or I say thank you first. Thank you. Thank you for receiving me back. Thank you for accepting me back and allowing me to come back to my truth. And then, I love you. I love you puts you straight in line with the divine. You are straight in line with in harmony with yourself. Now you do that 4 times with any thought that you're thinking, in any negative place that you're at. So I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Whatever you were thinking about is gone. Now, I've played around with this, like Craig and I went fishing once, and we were crabbing at Crab Claw. And we were over in this little creek, and we were out the front of it, and we saw the crabbers go down this creek, and we were going to check our crabs soon, but we were just fishing here and just mucking around a bit. And so they've gone down, and then so maybe 10 minutes later, we've gone down the creek to check our pots, and we couldn't find them anywhere. And this was a dead-end creek, and they were just gone. And so we go down the end and start checking our pots, and they're all empty. And I thought, oh my God. And Craig's like, those bloody robbers, they've checked our pots, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we got to the last pot. And I did tell Craig to stop because I had a feeling that this one was going to have crabs in it. I was like, okay, that means that the bucket is going to be full. So I need to do a pee, and you can't just jump over the side because there's crocodiles. So anyway, did my business, pulled up this crab pot. There was 2 crabs in this pot, and they were tied up. Now, you can say anything you want there, but if I believe that if I wasn't doing that clearing, and if I had stayed in that negative outlook, there wouldn't have been crabs in that pot. And that's my belief, but I know that this stuff works. So you can use this now. Anytime you come up with, you believe, like a disbelief in yourself, a disbelief in what you're capable of, use this technique. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Like I have one here on my screen of my computer that I've printed out, and there's another line on there, so I can't tell you that one. But I have it there to remind me, because as soon as I get into, and you forget things, your imagination is so fast, and once you think of one negative thing, because the law of attraction, within 17 seconds there's another one and another one and another one, and before long you're down the garden path and you're like, oh, this is so far removed from where I'm going. You can use this technique just to clear it. And also you can go, like I said yesterday, you can go back into your past and you can see where you haven't, and I want you to use it in this way. Look at the places where you believe you've let yourself down, where you said you're going to do something and you haven't done it, where you said you're going to turn up for you, but you didn't do it, where you've made promises to yourself or others and then didn't fulfill them. Use it to clear that energy out there, because all of those that are still sitting there are sitting there waiting for you, like waiting to say, hey, I'm over here. Remember that last time you tried that and it didn't work? Why would you even do that? When you clear all those out of your field, they're gone. And the more that you do it, because sometimes they might just keep popping back up, because different situations bring up different thoughts and feelings and different circumstances. You clear all that out And before long, you just know you can have anything. You just know. And like Sarah Heathwood, she did a live the other day, and she said, when I had my talk with Polly, and like Sarah and I have been friends for a lot of years. She taught a lot of my kids, and some of them even in preschool. And you know, the first thing I wanted to do, I wanted all my friends to get in to do Thinking into Results with me. Every single one of them. I reached out to every single one. I said, hey, I have got this, and are you in? They're like, nope. And Sarah was one of those people that said no. And then Jenny, when Jenny was working with me, she reached out to her as well, and we got no. Anyway, now they're sort of coming back around, and I want you to think about this. You have to hear something between 11 and 14 or 17 times before you will accept it as truth. So you think about that. You need to hear a compliment about yourself 11 or 17 times, between 11 and 17 times before you believe it. Because the first one, when somebody says, oh, I think you're doing a great job, you'll be like, yeah, bullshit, as if I am. They're just saying that. Like, and I had this going on. I put up that video today, right? The video that I made, my hero video, we called it. And I was in front of the camera the first time, and I just read the thing through the way I thought it should be read. Like, I read my script through. And the two ladies just looked at each other. Like, one was the videographer and one was the lady, Colette, that was doing my website and everything. They just looked at each other. And I thought, oh, fuck, I'm really bad. Okay. And then they looked back at me and they said, okay. And I said, what's going on? They said, well, we know that this is going to be a kick-ass video, so let's just get on with it, hey? And I'm like, are you for real? Like, we just discount ourselves so much. And it wasn't until I actually got to see the video, once it was made, I was like, oh, now I see what they're talking about. But we will discount ourselves. We will talk ourselves down. We will talk ourselves out of it, and we will tell ourselves that we don't need certain things when we really bloody do. So if there's anything in your life that's holding you back from stepping forward, some old hurts in you that you've done to yourself, because nobody can do anything to you. You make up a story about what people, like things that people do, and then you make a story up and say, okay, that was because of this, and that was because of this, and and we blame ourselves. Got to get rid of all of that. So use that technique. If you need any help, you can read this book. It's called Zero Limits by Joe Vitale. Dr. Hugh Lin was his only time that he ever let anybody write a book about this. So Zero Limits, Joe Vitale, you can read about it. It is a great Audible book too, because Joe actually reads the book as well. So it's a really good read. Get it, help yourself there. It's a really great thing for you. Now, I want to just go back into paradigms, because there is not too much that you can learn about a paradigm and what it controls. Your paradigm controls your logic. Now, first of all, before we're doing this, your paradigm is a multitude of habits that has almost exclusive control of your habitual behavior. So think about that. My paradigm is a multitude of habits, and it has almost exclusive control of my habitual behavior. And almost all my behavior is habitual, because that's what we are as human beings. Our brain looks for things that we do in a same sequence, and it goes, oh, she's done that a few times over and over again. Okay, that's a habit. Put in our subconscious mind. You think about that. When you brush your teeth in the morning, you don't have to be there, but like, you don't have to be there in your thinking. You can be thinking about your day and all sorts of stuff, or you can be listening to Thinking into Results, or leave the field. And you're brushing your teeth. You just go along. It just gets done. And you don't even have to be conscious. What about when you're driving to work? You hop in the car, you get to work, and sometimes you can go, oh, don't really remember that drive. You know, when they turn these traffic lights on in town here, I drove because I live out in Catherine East, drove into town, came back through, and I was like, shit, the traffic lights are on. Oh, I've already driven through this. These are the new bicentennial ones. They're a few years old now. I've already driven through this. Were those lights green when I drove through? I don't remember, because I was elsewhere thinking about what I had. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I wasn't driving that car because I have a habit of how to drive the car. I know when to turn an indicator on. I know when to press the brake. I know when to like change gears if I had to. But most cars these days are all automatics. But you have habits of things that you don't have to be consciously present. Are you all getting this? And that's your paradigm. So when you think about it, although it's not something that you absolutely look at, yep, you can buy it. You can't buy mine because I've written all in mine, but you can buy it from the shop, Irene. So when you look at your day, have a look at your day and think, where was I actually conscious of what I was doing? You can do payroll and not be present. You can pay people. You can drink water. You can drink cups of tea. You can drink a cup of coffee or even drink an alcoholic beverage. I've done that before. Like being drinked away and then the bottle's gone. The bottle of champagne's gone. I'm like, where'd that go? And Craig's like, I think we drank it. But have a think about that. How often are you present in your day? It's because your paradigm or your habitual behavior is just pumping out results, pumping out actions from you, and you don't have to be there. So what does your paradigm control? Your paradigm controls your productivity. How productive that you are in the day. Now, you can see this in other people, sometimes more than we can see it in ourselves. We can just know, like, you make up judgments about people. You see somebody and you think, oh, they're just not productive. I don't know what they do, but that nothing much gets done. In my industry, when I was a chef, we used to call them pot stirrers. As soon as the boss come in, they're stirring a pot, like, I'm busy, because they had to look busy. And there's a lot of people in this world that just look busy. Your paradigm controls your ability to earn money. You are not earning the money you want to earn today because that's what you chose. Like, you think about it. You're not choosing to earn 100 grand a year. It's what you believe you can earn. All you had to do is change that belief that you can earn 100 grand a month, and you can do that. I know people that have earned 100 grand in an hour. And probably a lot of you, especially if you're in the cattle industry, have probably seen that too. And then there's people that have earned 40 million in an hour because they believe that they can. And your beliefs are what are in your paradigm. You change your belief, you change your life. What about relationships? How many people have you known? Now, I've got a really close one with this one. I have somebody that was really close to me that used to just choose men that she would then come to me and say, he just treated me like shit and he hit me. I'm like, man, you got to change the people that you're going out with. The next one does the same thing. Next one does the same thing. And then she left one day. She had just started seeing this man, and she said he had her by the throat and he spat in her face. And wouldn't let me call the police or anything on any of these people. So then she came to me and she said, that's it, I'm done. I'm like, beauty, awesome, cool stuff. Now, for a week, she lived with me and she was doing great. Then she rang me one day and she said, I've gone back. And I'm like, are you for real? What for? She said, I just can't live without him. There are people that like, that's part of your self-image. Now, I'm not really friends with that person much anymore because it was an emotional roller coaster for me. Like, it was like, you just want to help and they just keep going and doing that same thing. But unless they change that part of their self-image, take that old bit out and put the new one in. It's like take an old battery out and chuck it away and put a new battery in, and it's all going to be different. We've got to rewire people. What about your effectiveness? Your effectiveness, that is governed by your paradigm as well. How effective you are in maybe communicating. There are people that are very effective in communicating. There's people that aren't very effective in communicating. They can learn it, but then there'll be a paradigm that comes in to stop that until they do certain things. And I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. What about your logic? When you go and set a C-type goal that is illogical, what do you think is going to come in? Your paradigm. Going to come in and talk you out of it. That's just illogical. How the hell do you think you're going to do that? That's just crazy. Do you know how much work that's going to take? Oh my God. What does this woman think? And they'll be making up a story about me, which is okay. I've got my own story going on about me, so I don't need to know what you think. But there's so much that goes on in our mind all the time that we are not transmitting a frequency that is our goal. And it is clouding the signal. It is jumbling the signal. When you know exactly what you're doing and you learn to use your brain, which is your transmitting station, okay? Like this is your radio station and you are transmitting a frequency. At the moment, you think about it, you're probably transmitting like this, like think about a squirter hose, right? And it can spray out a big fan. You're probably squirting it all over the place because you haven't learned to focus. But if you can turn it into a jet stream, imagine how much water you would get in a place compared to the shower that you can spread around. So you've got to learn to focus this thing. You've got to learn to use your brain as the tool it's for. Transmit a frequency and receive a frequency. And what do we receive frequency as? Ideas, plots, plans, all sorts of things. That's what it's there for. What about your creativity? How many of you think you're not creative? What is creativity? Creativity is like giving birth to an idea and then bringing it into reality. That's manifesting, but you do it by creating. You create your own life. You create your own circumstances. You create who you are. You are creative. And what about your use of time? You know, I had Jenny Grahek used to work for me. My God, that lady was always late. Absolutely always late. Now, there was a belief in her that, I don't know, that the kids always made her late or the husband made her late or whatever was going on there. And when I started this business, I said to her, I said, right now, Jen, I need a manager in Hans, and I'd love it to be you. This is the amount of money I'm going to pay you, which was double her income. So she doubled her income straight up. This is what I'm going to pay you. However, I need you to be here at 7:30 every morning, and I need you to be here till 5, and you can have like your hour lunch break. She's like, 7:30. I said, I know you can do this. I really know you can do this. And I want you to do what I did for Jenny. I want you to do what Jenny did. I want you to borrow my belief. I know you can have anything that you want. And I know that you have the ability to change your paradigm so that it becomes easy and effortless for you to have it. But you have to let me. But you can borrow my belief in you if you need it just to get going. So borrow my belief. I know you can have anything. You can be and do and have anything that you want. But the one thing you have to be is you have to be committed. Interested people will only do the things that are convenient. People that are committed will do whatever it takes. So when Jenny upgraded her self-image and she's like, okay, I am the office manager of Hans Anything Metal. That lady was never late. She was hardly ever sick. She used to have sick days all the time. She was hardly ever sick. She was always on time, and she just killed it. And at the same time, we were making this business and growing this business, and so we were working around the clock. So you can do anything. I don't care if you've got full-time businesses, 16 kids. When you prioritize and manage your priorities, like make a list. See that this thing? This really helps, right? You write down the 6 most important things. These got numbers in order. You start at number 1. You do this the night before. So on Sunday you would write out what I have to get done on Monday. Or if Friday is the day that you leave work and you have the weekends off, you write Friday in Monday. Like you write out what you have to do on Monday. You come in and you write it in order. So the most important thing I have to do is number 1. And you do number 1. And you do not leave number 1 until you can go no further or you've completed it. And then you move on to number 2. And then you do that process. Now, there's 6 spaces for you to write something here. If you do, write 6 things in there and you only get number 1 and number 2 done, guess what? Number 3 becomes the most important thing for the next day. Maybe. There might be something that's a bit more important, but you move Monday into Tuesday. And you don't beat yourself up about it. Because you know what you've done? You've learned to discipline and focus. You've learned to stay on track until you get it done, which actually helps you break that paradigm of I never start what I finish. And so many people have got that paradigm going on, that I start stuff and I never quite finish it, never quite get to the end. Hands up if you've got that paradigm going on. that you don't ever quite finish things, or you by the end you're sort of half-assed at things. Well then, if you are one of those people, you definitely need some accountability. That is the one sure way that you are going to make sure you start things and finish things. Accountability. All good, Shay. Well done. And you know, the best thing is own it. You cannot change anything unless you own it and take responsibility. As soon as you take responsibility, guess what? There's a whole new path written for you to go, okay, I know what I do. And I know unless I change that, not much is going to change. Good, Jess, good. And I want you to give you one little gift here for that. If you start something and you realize, like you've decided that you have to do this, okay, whatever it is, you decide that you have to do something. Like say maybe, I'm just going to play around with this. Decide you're going to do a jigsaw puzzle. Like that's it, I'm going to do a jigsaw. I'm going to sit there today and do a jigsaw puzzle. And you start doing it and you get into it and you're just like, this is not fun. This is not what I signed up for. This does not feel like what I want to do anymore. And I know it's not going to get me to my goal. You can pack that thing away without feeling guilty that you didn't finish it and just go, you know what, cool, awesome. Now I'm going to get on with something a bit more productive. Because if you think about your productivity and how much you are producing to get where you want to go, there will be things that your paradigm will try and get you to do. And you are allowed to let some things go. I call it do it, ditch it, delegate, right? There's some things that only Polly can do in this business. Only Polly can coach most of the time, unless she goes on holiday on a cruise. Then she lets her team do it. But only Polly can do what Polly does. And then I can ditch some things. Like there's some things it's like, oh yeah, that doesn't feel real good. I'm not going to do that one anymore. Like let's let that one go. Or you can delegate. Really good leaders learn to delegate. And it's a self-image upgrade too. Just expect other people to do things. Now, some things can get done by neglect. You can just leave something somewhere and somebody else come and does it. That's cool too. I think that's smart thinking. So I want you to think about this. If I'm interested in something, the circumstances will dictate my decisions. If I am committed, I will create the circumstances and I will change how I look at circumstances until I get what I want. That's the difference. And remember when I asked you the other day, when you have a goal, you've got to ask yourself, am I able? You're able to do anything. You can do anything you want. I've told you that a few times. Am I willing to do whatever it takes? That's commitment. When you make a committed decision, you know that you're committed and you will keep going until you get to the end of it. But it's got to be something of a very high desire. And it's got to be for you. It can't be for anybody else. You can't make up goals and like, oh, I'm going to do this because this one would really like it and this one. You will make resentment goals. You will do them probably and then you'll be like, well, they didn't even care in the end anyway. They didn't even give me the praise that I wanted. Like there'll be some part of you that will be disappointed going after other people's goals or doing for other people what. And there's another little trick here. If you decide that you're the only person that can do certain things for other people, or you decide you've got to do this because they won't, or blah, 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 that means it's more important to you than them. And also, there's a belief that you don't believe they can do it, which is, it's disempowering. The best thing that you can do for somebody that you know can do better is tell them that they can. Show them areas that they have done better before and give them inspiration instead of doing it for them or telling them, okay, I've done this for you, I've done that, because then what you're doing is setting up a belief in them that you don't believe they can. And that can be anything. Like I find myself in a trap sometimes to do all the kids' washing and stuff like that. I'm like, am I doing that as a favor? Or am I actually doing it because I don't believe they're going to get to it and they'll be wearing smelly clothes? And that's the belief, that I believe they'll be wearing smelly clothes. I'm just like, oh, okay, need to stop that then. Let them do it on themselves. Let them own it and take ownership. Just some different thinking, maybe. Now, my team So my Limitless ladies, you all know who they are because you've all been assigned to them and they've been messaging you and you've been talking to them and I've been messaging you. They want for you what you want. And we all want for you what you want. Are you interested or are you committed? Now I want you to write in the comments, are you interested or are you committed? I want to know who's committed, who's really going to go after what they want there, and they're not going to let anything stand in their way. That means money is not going to be a problem for you anymore. What people say about you is not going to be a problem anymore. Your old habits are not going to be a problem anymore. You have just decided that is it. I am committed. I'm going after this and I'm going to have it. Whatever your goal is. Good, Hottie. Good, Maggie. I know Maggie is because I've talked to her. Great work, Donna. Good, Cheryl. Is it Keely? Anyway, I'd like to know how to exactly say that name. Thank you. Shireen, awesome. Go, Shay. Now, for those of you that are committed and you're ready to jump in and take the next step, I am opening up my doors to help you. I'm opening up my doors for 11 people into Thinking into Results and 11 people into Lead the Field. Now, there is a bit of a difference here, and I know this could be a bit confusing, but I'm just going to talk about Thinking into Results first. Thinking into Results, you get to have me as your coach, me and all my team come in, and you come to join our community, and you come in for 7 months. You get Thinking into Results. Now, Thinking into Results is a program by Bob Proctor. In your email today, you are getting a preview of that, so you can go and watch lesson 1 and get a feel for it. I want you to understand something. Your paradigm's going to say, oh no, we don't need this. You'll watch it, and because it's not in harmony with who you are and in harmony with your goal, like with where you are, and you're not in harmony with your goal just yet because you haven't got it, so you can't be, it will talk you out of it. I want you just to keep thinking, like, will this help me get to where I want to go? And will this fast track me? Are the people that are on here in these lives and talking in this group, are they getting the results that I want? Are they turning up where I would like to turn up? Are they doing the things that I want to do? And have they been where I am right now? Are they thinking, have they ever thought the thoughts that I think about myself? So really ask yourself this question. Don't let your paradigm talk you out of it. And don't, like, sometimes it'll talk you out of it before you even get to go and watch it. Go and watch it. And I want to tick, because the ticks that you give me to say that you've watched it, and I'm going to ask you a question about it when you put a tick in our little chat. I'm going to ask you a question. That's going to determine if you're going to go into the prize draw on Monday. Because Monday, remember, we've got a Zoom, so you can come along and be a part of my community. So I want you to watch that video. Now, that is lesson 1. There is another 11 like that. You also will get a VIP book pack, which is like a participant's guide. You'll get one of my journals. You will get another little notebook. You'll get one of those weekly planners. You will get pens. There's lots of stuff in there. Jess wrapped them all up for me. There's lots of affirmation cards. There's lots of things in there for you to help you. And we are going to work with you and make sure that you get what you want, or well on your way in that 7 months. Some people's goals go for a year or so, so we're just going to help you get exactly where you want. I also have a WhatsApp group, and that has its own private Facebook group too. That is all yours. And you get to keep the Thinking into Results for the rest of your life. Just because you're with me with 7 months doesn't mean it's gone. You get to keep that, and you can keep listening to the lessons and keep doing the work. I have been doing Thinking into Results now for 5 years, on and off, because I do bring in Lead the Field, because they just go so hand in hand together. So the cost of that, the cost for both of these is exactly the same. It's $15,000, and that's for 7 months worth of work. And I want you to think about, how much have you moved in the last 6 months? And if you don't understand and really understand how to create a new paradigm to make the old one obsolete, where will you be in the next 6 months if you don't really actively learn how to change them? Will much in your life change? Now, for those of you that have already completed Thinking into Results, and maybe you've already done Lead the Field with me, I'm doing it completely different this time. Those of you that have already got Lead the Field, there is a price difference for you, so I can let you know that one if you've already got it. We're going to be going for the next 7 months too, but we are doing it like there's like no tomorrow. We are really going to be on fire with this, and there is going to be no excuses that you don't get your goal, because we are all going to be on to you. So you decide which one you want to go. And I want you to think about, if you stay where you're at, will you live the fulfilled life that you've been looking for? Will you get the results that you've been put here to get? Now, you don't need to know where the money's going to come from. Once you make a decision, the money will be made clear. I've lived that for the last 5 years. I don't always have the money when I book things. I just booked my next cruise in 2026. I don't have the money yet. I can book it and I'll manifest it. You can do the same. Doesn't matter what it is. If you want to buy a house, if you want to move town and live on a different property, if you want to buy a different property, if you want to have kids, if you want to have a different relationship, if you want to change your body image, whatever your goal is, thinking into results will help you. Now, there is 2 ways that you can do this. One way is you can you can ask the Limitless Lady for a chat link, and they will give you my chat link, and then you can get in there and book a call with me. Or you can be like Polly and just like, man, I have grown so much in this last week, and I just know that this is the information that is going to help me get where I want to go. And ladies, and I'm just going to ask you, ladies, like my Limitless Ladies, you just reach out to them, you just say, okay, where's the money come from? Wherever it is right now. You don't own anything. I just want you to understand that you never own anything. Things just come through your life and out on the other side. Friendships come, cars come, everything sort of comes and goes. Wherever the money is right now, you will channel it to you. But you have to decide. You can't just sit there in indecision. Oh, I'll do that when the circumstances are right. The circumstances will never be right because the circumstances are in control. If you make a decision, it always turns up. And you make a decision. So, and this all goes down, so all of this comes down next Friday, the 1st of November, and the offer goes away. So there's 11 spots in each. So if I was be you, I would either be asking for the chat thing, because there is limited spots to have a chat with me, because I have got a bit of a hectic schedule in the next week or so, but I have opened up after hour times and stuff. And then also, if you're just like me, you just go and ask for the link so that you can just buy it, because that's how I work. It's like, okay, this feels good. Does it feel good? Do I know inside me that this is the answer for me? Yes. Okay. Give me the link. That's it. I'm done. And, I was on that call with Justin, that was my coach with Bob, because you have a coach with Bob as well. And he's telling me all this stuff. I said, Justin, can you just give me the link? And he's like, what? I said, just send me the link. He's like, are you ready? And he's like, I've still got half an hour to talk to you, so I don't need half an hour. I've already decided. I decided in Paradigm Shift I was going to be a consultant. So can you just give me the link? So once we did that, it was on and it was just coming in. And, there is a payment plan. All you need is a first payment plan. And what's the mindset there? Payment plans cost more money. Yeah, guess what? But they get you started right now. And I would like to think, how much growth have you had in the last 6 months compared to how much growth you could have in the next 6 months? What's the difference there? Because even though you may have done thinking into result a couple of times, I really want you to think about this. Even though you may have done thinking into results, those of you that have, you still got things in there that stop you from doing things. You still need somebody to say, make the call. Stop pressing snooze. Because your paradigm is bloody strong. I still need a coach. Bob still had mentors. Most of his were dead, but he still had mentors. Because he read their books and he did exactly what the books said. And that's what I'm going to ask you. If you're committed, you're going to do exactly what I tell you to do. I'm going to send you a video every single week, or you're going to have access to a video every single week, and you are going to go through the lessons, and you're going to answer questions about yourself, and you're going to make cognitions, and you're going to change the relationship between what's in your conscious mind and what's in your subconscious mind and how your body moves. You're going to change your relationship with yourself. You are going to change the relationship with those people around you. You are going to start to love your life, and you are going to start to There may be some tears. That's okay. Because you know what? Emotions are supposed to be expressed. When you suppress emotions, it means that you are suppressing the energy and you're keeping it inside your body where it's not supposed to be. Energy is expressed. What is emotion? Energy in motion is emotion. So they're supposed to be expressed. When I had depression, I had depression after my second child, Hannah. My kids tease each other about it, like, Mum didn't get depression with me, she only got it with you. But there was a doctor in town, his name was Dr. Scatini. And I went to him and I wrote a letter and I just said, like, I'm not in a good way, because I couldn't talk. So I thought I'd just write it down. I gave him this letter and I sat in his surgery with Craig and he's like, okay, I think you've got depression. I'm like, okay, righto. Gave me these pills. Anyway, I went away, took the pills. About a month later, or because I was only on for 4 months, I come back and I said, all right, I need to talk to somebody. And I can't talk to my husband because then he looks at me like I've said something wrong, and I can't talk to anybody else. I need to talk to somebody. And he's like, okay, I'll send you to this lady. So he sent me to this lady at Mental Health, and she was writing a book. So she just sat there and just took notes, and she was writing all this stuff. And I'm like, have you got anything for me? She says, oh, I just thought you wanted to get it out. No, that's okay. Oh, okay. So off I went. And then one day I just really needed to talk to somebody. You know how you just right at that, like at your wit's end? And I rang up Mental Health and I said, I need to talk to somebody. And Jane Hare answered the phone. She said, oh, you can come and talk to me. I'm like, righto, cool. So I drove in there, and lucky I had Kim looking after my kids. I went in there and I just let rip. And she just sat there, and I was probably crying and all sorts of stuff. And she says, you're such a victim of your life, aren't you? And it wasn't exactly like that, but it would have come to that. And I was just like, what? She's like, oh, well, this person's doing this here and this person's got into you and da-da-da. She said, you're such a victim. And I said, well, she said, you need to stop thinking that everybody's doing things against you. What if they're trying to help? And that she made me change my perception, because my paradigm was controlling my perception. And because I had such a low self-image, I was perceiving that everybody was doing things against me. In essence, they wanted to help me, but all I could see was like deceit and things like this. And then I went back to Dr. Scatini after a while and I said, all right, well, it was before that. I went to him, I said, I just need to da-da-da-da. And he said, you just got to stop thinking these thoughts. And I said, well, that's a little bit easier said than done, isn't it? And he said, well, I don't think so. Just stop thinking them. Think something else instead. And I thought, this man should have been selling thinking into results. But that's it. That's what we have to do. We have to stop thinking. And what have I told you this whole week, Irene? Fuck the how. Don't worry about the how. Where's the money coming from? Wherever it is right now, it'll turn up. And you have absolute faith that it will. Because at the moment you have absolute faith that it's going to be a struggle. Doesn't feel good. Absolute faith that it will. And we'll know when you've got absolute faith, because you'll be like, okay, here I am, ladies. I am limitless. So I hope you've enjoyed this last week. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've had an absolute ball. I have grown so much. And, you know, guys, I do this for you, but it's also for me, because I grow each time that I do it. I grow in my belief in myself and who I am. And that's why we do things, hey? To feel achievement. To feel that we can overcome things. I still have to do a draw yet. Oh, thank you, Donna. Thank you. So, Maggie sent me, how many got 91 entries. Well done, everybody. Well done. Oh, you're so welcome, Joy. I'm so glad that you could be here. Now, lady, I'm going to give you a little bit of coaching thing. Get out and go and visit the schools if that's what you want. Or revisit your goal and ask yourself, is it the schools that I really want to do, or is it something else? Because if you haven't taken action, and it's been a few years, you've got to get out there. Come on. Okay. Hey, Siri. Can I please have a number between 1 and 91? Oh, how cool is that? Like 11 places I have in each program. Number 11. How cool. Number 11 is, who's lucky 11? You know, I love 11. 11 is my birthday. I've always loved 11. Bridget Simmons. That is going to make your day and make your week. I know you've had a bit of a tough time a little bit of lately, but it's only because of you're thinking about certain situations. That if you change your thinking, situations change. Change your belief, your whole world will change. Change what you do daily and you get a whole different set of results. Remember, Monday, 5:15 in the afternoon, and I'm going to be checking in with you at about 7 o'clock tonight to see if you've watched Lesson 1 preview. If you have, I want you to privately message me what you took away from it. What was your one takeaway from Lesson 1? Okay? If I'm going to also put the link in the Facebook chat, the messenger chat, so that you got easier access to it. Those of you that go and do TIR and watch the Lead the Field one, like you've already done TIR, you watch the Lead the Field first lesson, or you can all do both, doesn't matter. I want to hear a takeaway from you. So even if you have done it before, I still want to hear a takeaway. When you listen to something over and over again, and then you have a bit of a break from it and you come back to listen, it's like you've never heard it before. And because you know why? You are a different person. You are different to who you were 5 years ago. You're a different person to who you were a week ago, because you have learnt different things. You have new cognitions. You have different logic. There's so much about you that's changed that when you listen again, you get another layer of growth and another layer of cognitions. So I'll be asking you all these questions in Messenger, so look out for them and don't run away. All right, have a great day. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. I look forward to working with those of you that are really committed to moving ahead and not going to let yourself stay stuck. All right, see you all. Bye-bye.